The Church of Notre Dame in Paris, one of the greatest architectural achievements of the Western world, is being turned into a woke theme park. Let that sink in. Welcome to my channel, where we discuss relevant current issues and most times try to finish on an Elevant note, something positive and inspiring, to help you forget you're living in the end times. If you're new here and you like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button and share this video. And also check out my other ones. And now we're going to take a virtual trip to Paris and visit the Notre Dame Cathedral. I remember visiting the Church of Notre Dame in Paris when I was just a wee lass of about 10 years old. My family was not very religious, but when I entered this sacred space, I felt something incredible that can only be described as awe. This was in the late 80s, before this church burned in 2019. It was in its original state and it was beautiful, even if I was not raised very religious. I felt like I was in a sacred, magnificent space. The way sound traveled and the way the light fragmented through the stained glass windows created an otherworldly atmosphere that even the most secular person could appreciate and fully be enthralled by. This church at the time belonged to the Catholics and was basically the main headquarters of their faith. Flashback to a couple of years ago, to April 2019, I believe, this 800-year-old architectural and spiritual masterpiece was partially burned. Who did it? Well, I could not find out. When doing an internet search, no clear answer is given, which is very curious to me, very sus, considering that it's well known that Muslim extremists have been burning churches all over Europe with impunity, allegedly. Yet I could not find any article connecting any kind of extremist terrorist activity with the fire at Notre Dame. Very sus indeed. But I am not really surprised. Europe has completely lost all testicular fortitude, and they do not fight against the assault on their culture being committed by foreign extremist immigrants, of which they have way too many, if you ask me. Yet that is the subject for a different video. Oh yes, I'm going to go there eventually. I mean, they won't denounce the Pakistan grooming gangs that roam around and rape their women, so why would they denounce the criminals that burn a church, right? Allegedly. Because I could not find any receipts. I am just speculating here, using my powers of pattern recognition and weaponizing my autism. I could be wrong. The going story is that misplaced cigarette burn or an overheated computer terminal started the fire. Okay, internet, whatever. But I digress. People around the world rallied together to provide financial support to save this special place. Because deep inside, we all feel like the Notre Dame Cathedral is a living symbol of Western civilization. So a restoration project was put in place and work began. Most of the funds came from regular people who donated money for this. Keep in mind, this restoration is a multi-million-dollar project. And then somehow, I don't know how, things took a wrong freaking turn. As of now, said restoration project, financed, mind you, mostly by the money donated by individuals around the world, is intending to turn Notre Dame not into a fresh version of her former glory, and not even into a more modern place of Christian worship. Nah, friends. Somehow, this here restoration project is aiming to make the Notre Dame Cathedral into basically a woke theme park. Gross. According to the sources I found, which I will include in the notes, the new version of Notre Dame will be a more welcoming space for everyone. No. This place was never meant for everyone. It's, after all, a place of Christian worship. and everyone was welcome inside as long as they were respectful of that. When I went to visit Notre Dame, I was not a Christian, and I still felt welcome there and very much enjoyed the amazing architecture and the art and just the atmosphere. But this place has always existed as a place of Christian worship, nothing else and nothing more. Its beauty and architectural supremacy, not white supremacy, architectural, calm down YouTube. I'm talking about architecture. Its architectural supremacy made it into something that attracts tourists from all walks of life. But ultimately, it is still a church for the Christian God, at least until now. According to this restoration project, the confessional booths and altars will be removed, as well as the classic works of art. The confessionals will be replaced with emotional spaces. I don't know what that means, but it sounds a lot like safe space bullshit to me. Same narrative of the woke socialists that have taken over the school system. The classical artworks depicting the life of Christ will be allegedly replaced by street art, such as graffiti that glorifies woke heroes, such as the saint of fentanyl, George Floyd. In addition, there will be a discovery trail, basically a Disney-like walkthrough that leads the sheep through a lane where they are shown, according to my sources, a watered-down version of Christian beliefs that is equivalent to the For Dummies books, or probably worse. And if that was not enough, there will be some climate change stuff. Maybe they will erect an altar to this moron. How dare you? And to top it off, there will be light and sound displays, like, the kind of shit you encounter at a proper rave party to make you blow up. Now, I am one that has enjoyed my share of proper rave parties. I mean, I grew up in Miami, where we had a rave club that was open 24 hours on the weekend. But it was not a church, and we all knew it. We all stopped going there once we grew up. I had a moment where I was at that club when I realized for a brief moment that the only reason we were all there, it was because we were lost and lonely. And I think I stopped going after that. Do I want to see Notre Dame turn into that, a nightclub? No, I don't think anybody does. Some critics have described this so-called renovation as a very childish and profane, considering the history and grandeur of Notre Dame. And I have to agree, why would you rescue this magnificent structure from the ashes and then turn it into a den of woke, secular ideology? The same ideology that is infantilizing our masses and destroying our morals. The problem seems to be that the state has basically taken over Notre Dame, so it no longer belongs to the Catholic Church. And the French state made the decision to allow this to happen. Now, I will be the first to point out that the Catholic Church has made many mistakes over the years, and that these mistakes have not been properly addressed. But they are only a denomination. Ultimately, Notre Dame is a temple of the Christian God who goes well beyond the Catholic denomination. Many people of different aspects of the faith have cherished this place and its historical value, turning one of the most iconic cathedrals of Western civilization into a temple for the woke. I think it sends the wrong message to our enemies. It's basically saying, we have no balls, we are all cucks, come and take all we hold sacred and do whatever you want with it. We are afraid and we will bow down to you. Or, alternatively, we have all decided to stay children forever and we will have former places of worship turned into childish theme parks. So yeah, enemies, come and be the adults, because we just want to look at shiny lights and crawl into safe spaces because we're too afraid to protect our culture and heritage. Sad. Is that how you want your enemies to see you, friends? Well, never mind, friends. The bravest man to come out from your legions was a young girl by the name of Joan of Arc, and you let her burn. after she rallied an army to save their king. So never mind. I do not expect you to save Notre Dame from the woke, or yourselves for that matter. Okay, rant over. But I just want to leave this here as a historical record. The country of France had a magnificent cathedral built to worship Christ, the one true God. It was set on fire, but people all over the world sent support to have it restored. But they are about to let it become a secular theme park instead, because they are more interested in that tourist money than in preserving their culture values, and basically they're selling out their culture and their souls for tourist money and fear of the mainstream narrative. A narrative that has been hijacked by deranged people. Gross and sad and repulsive. Let's move on to the relevant part of this video, which I'm going to expand on a separate video later because it has been something that changed my life. I and my friends have realized that God is real, and I made friends with him. I went to a church with my family months ago, and for the first time in my life, the message resonated with me, and I just knew I had to turn to Christ. It was a very real, physical, and emotional experience. I truly felt it, so I came forward and I accepted it. And now I feel like a huge weight has been lifted from me that I no longer have to carry. For a long time, I fancied myself an atheist because I like science and logic and research and reason. Yet the more research I did and the more science I learned, realizing that we do have a creator became the most logical conclusion for me. I do not expect you to understand this because at first I did not understand what was happening either. And I'm still coming to terms with it. That's why I decided to make a whole separate video about this for later, to explain how I came to accept him, God, after being such an asshole to him for most of my life. So that will be the next one, my friends. I need to still sort out in my head how it all happened. Make sure to follow me on Odysee and Rumble because alt tech is our future. And also in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to appear on my friend's channel, Loyal9, who is doing an amazing job of fighting commies by denouncing their tactics. He is giving me the chance to tell my story to his audience. This guy is a mad lad, extremely thorough with his research. I'm going to put his info in the notes and make sure you follow him because the stuff that he puts out there is absolutely priceless. We have been talking for a couple of months, and he thinks my story and what I have experienced as a two-time survivor of communism is worth sharing. You see, I am one of many legal immigrants to America that came here because we believed in what this country stands for, and we could not stand to see those values destroyed by woke ideology and communism, which are the same thing basically. So make sure you catch me on the Loyal9 channel talking about my story, and I'll leave the time and date for that in a future video. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, hit the button and share. Stay alert, stay awake, not woke, stay alive, and watch out for commies. They're out there. See you on the next one. Bye.